Welcome to Troubleshooting ActiveSync devices. Just give you a brief overview and share my experience from the last years and how you can tackle certain kind of errors. Just a few words to my person. My name is Ingo Gegenwart. I'm working for SAP. I'm based in Germany there. My job role is there an administrator. More as an administrator with architectural design, and I see my person really supporting first, second and third level. So that means I'm not just a consultant setting things up and then running away, let it flow. No, I have to deal with the stuff. What are we gonna have today? On the agenda is something about IIS log, the Internet Information Service logs. We're going to have something about Exchange Web Services for calendar items, troubleshooting, and something also about Get-DatabaseEvents. Has anyone heard about this? Yeah, at least one, two, a few of them will track this. And then even message tracking. So maybe some of you will wonder what is message tracking, what has message tracking to do with troubleshooting ActiveSync devices. You will see. Also, ActiveSync debug logging and mailbox LogParser. I doubt you're going to get a Q&A session, but I will stick around here, just to give you a heads up here. So why would you troubleshoot ActiveSync devices? I'm pretty sure that some of you, or most of you, already have seen issues like this. But overall, mobile devices, they're very uncommon. We're getting more and more devices. Everything got to the cloud, moved to the cloud, you got leverage some line of business application. So they are enabler for the end users. But there's also a downside. You get more and more devices, you have to manage them. More and more broader range of operating system also gives you some challenges. You will see some kinds also like account logouts. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this, that users complaining or file a ticket. Hey, my account was locked out. It's on a regular basis. We don't know why. You have seen, I'm also pretty sure you have seen a lot of calendar issues. Who have seen lately or has suffered the issues, meeting get forwarded to the whole distribution group, to all attendees, something like this, yeah. The same also a daytime modification, so for all of a sudden an appointment got moved back, yeah. It was changed and then it got moved back to a different, to the previous time. That's everything most likely related to ActiveSync devices. Yeah, notifications sent on behalf of the organizer. We got this. IIS logs. Since 2013, we will see two directories. Most of you might have noticed this. Has anyone an idea why we have two directories over there? Just to make it short, there's one thing, it's for the front end, the client access server, and with 2016 we're talking about client access services. And then the second one is for the mailbox component, which is there, the back end basically. What is the purpose of between the roles? Just to give you a short heads up here. Again, the front end, the client access server services, they are only there for authentication and then routing. So this means based on the user, it looks up. There's also a component, server component, which is looking up where the mailbox database currently of this mailbox of this authenticated user is currently mounted and routes the request directly to this server on the back end. Which is good when it comes to authentication issues, right? So because the first line is authentication is the front end. You can also get some good tracing and overview and statistic for all the incoming requests. So that means if you might suffer an issue, an uneven load distribution across the front end components or about the server. So that means like the load balancer is not working correctly, or you have some other applications is bypassing the load balancer, is pointing directly to some servers, and you don't know about this when the network is open. You will see maybe that some of the servers get under heavy load, but you don't know why. For incoming requests, this is good. When it comes to ActiveSync, the front end will log only the comment which was issued by the mobile device. Whereas the mailbox server will contain the whole details of the ActiveSync stuff. Just give you an example here. What we see here is it's an extract from the mailbox server, that means from the back end, which contains, for instance, the user, the device ID, the device type, which ActiveSync request was issued, the comment was issued. Also, HH means the host which was requested. Sometimes helpful if you have multiple ID sites. But also here the device type. And also, don't underestimate this, the filter one. It's a numeric one, which gives you, there's a mapping for that. It's also in the KB, there's a KB article in TechNet, it's documented, which number is for which filter. So if it's only for 1 day, 3 days, for a week, for a month. Sometimes you will see issues that devices, they can't sync the whole mailbox because they're getting run over and over again. This is just an example. You will see it in the slide decks, also in the notes there. It's taking just the complete string out of the IIS log and put it into PowerShell and just decode it. The thing is, in the IIS logs, it's URL decoded. In order to have the nice thing over here that you can really extract all the details, you have to decode it. And PowerShells work quite easy. It's just an example. And as you can see here, there's much more. It's not only, I just had it here highlighted in the red areas, the fields I've mentioned before for the user. There's the folder ID, which is pointing to which folder it was. Every folder you subscribe in an ActiveSync, is a number. And there you can identify which folder it is, what email type it was. In this type it was an email, so that means it was really a message. Could be also a contact or a calendar item. But overall, the IIS logs, what can be logged there? It's a vast amount of information. This is only a list, only a subset. You will see the three dots over there. It's hardly defined. You can't find any real resources there. This is taken directly from reverse engineering. But it's also funny and interesting. What we might most likely show also here, CLI and SRV. That means, for instance, here you will see there what client-side changes got triggered and what server-side changes got triggered. Again, you can see if an item was added, it was changed, deleted, or it was fetched. Before we go to the web services, just to give you an idea what you really can get out of the IIS logs. You can have some cool statistic like this. Who has an overview about how many devices and what kind of devices do you have there? That's just the device types. This is one thing. What is more interesting, so we're also looking into ActiveSync errors about the devices, device types. So first of all, what you see here, it's ActiveSync errors. That's all the errors you've seen in all the IIS logs. As you can see here, and this is ordered by the occurrences. Vast amount of the one specific error, which is the enum stolen. This is really on top of the list. When you scroll a little bit down, we are looking for the errors per device type. Of course, I want to know what's going on. Who's causing all the device types? A background info here. We have roughly 80,000 devices, and of course 95% are Apple devices. As you can most likely see, you can tell, okay, you can say most of the errors here, because it's by device type, is caused by Apple. But now we can drill a little bit more into it, and this is only taken from the IIS logs. Nothing special, and this is just a pivot chart. when I look at this and then compare this specific error, how many percentage here per devices. But you can see, even if it's correlated. Even if we have here, I know we have 95% are ActiveSync devices from Apple. Most of the errors are caused by Apple devices. We also have currently a case up and running. But this is only for statistic. Just give you another example. I just parsed it before because it takes a long time. One thing to mention, because of the front end and the back end logs, if you're not looking at the authentication issues, you only have to parse the IIS logs which are in the back end, where the database of your mailbox could be mounted, because it's only logged there. This applies also to all the other logging. As you can see here, I parsed all the. Let me check this. First, I checked my mailbox. I checked for my specific iDevice. This is here the device ID. I just used a tool or a script I wrote, which is PowerShell. It's looking up in the specific ID side. Hey, how many Exchange server do I have? Or I can specify an Exchange server, and then just give me everything for this specific device. So it parsed about 8 gig, of course. The amount of data we currently see in our environment is the server produces about between 8 and 12 gig per day, each of them, and we have 100 in the main location. So, but this is LogParser is doing a great job. So we'll see in 25 seconds it parsed the 8 gig, and I get all the requests out. I just copied it over. Let me import it. Oh. This is something I'm using for troubleshooting every day. And how cool is that? Nah. You can see, okay, we have an SNAT, obviously most likely only the IP address from our load balancer. I can see all the requests. It's the HTTP status, the Win32 status, how long it took. The thing, I know exactly what kind of comment was issued. It's everything there. It's a treasure. Just have to find it. ActiveSync error, if there is one. What kind of sync type it was. There could be a subsequential sync, but this is the normal thing. There could be a recover sync. This is, by the way, if you see a lot of recover sync, that means the device is reloading the whole mailbox. You will see, as an end user perspective, you will see an empty mail app, most likely. And it's reloading and reloading and reloading. And battery training, something like this. You see also the heartbeat. Is it the APQ status? It was allowed, blocked, quarantined, some stuff like this. Also here, folder type. It was a calendar and email. A lot of stuff. It's worth sticking into it. EWS. Who is using EWS or is playing around with it at least? A few of you? There is also some calendar issues. I love EWS. It's the fastest way. I also wrote a Scrudder script. The good thing here, or the background here, is every item, modification of a calendar item, is kept for 120 days by default. You can find it most likely in the recoverable items or in the version store, depending on the version of Exchange and if single item recovery is enabled or not. There's also a good thing, another example. If you have a single item recovery not enabled, there are only a subset of the items, of the properties of a calendar item will be kept. Best example here is the body. If you have single item recovery not enabled, the body is not kept. If it's enabled, it's very useful. We use also this. It's native protection what we're using, so we have single item recovery enabled. I can see a body, and we had this also. The body was modified by certain devices, and then we can see how it looked before, how it looked afterwards, and we can definitely track down which device it was or which client. What we can use from AWS Exchange Web Service, if you're not familiar with it, there's a lot of search filter we can use. The script I wrote, for instance, is very powerful in terms of you can search just for subject. The built-in, this is the main thing, the built-in Exchange CMD-lets. There's also some CMD-lets where you can export the calendar items. For troubleshooting reason, most likely if you open a case, Microsoft will ask you for that. For those, you definitely have to have the subject, the exact subject. If you have a typo, there's a space missing, you won't get any result. With AWS, you will get a result. Maybe more, but at least you get some results. You can search for them by subject, by start, the modification date, which is more important, the clean global object and global object ID. So have you ever heard about this? What is this? The global object ID is a unique ID of the item in your mailbox. But what is the difference to the clean global object ID? The clean global object ID is a unique ID across multiple mailboxes. So that means you have one user who invites several other users. They might have a different global object ID. But the clean global object ID is the same across all the mailboxes. You can define a search scope, all folders or calendars, and all item properties. How does it look like? Or prerequisites. Okay, first, for AWS, to accessing and extracting the data, you either need to have full access or application impersonation. Full access is sufficient. Because not everybody got application impersonation, because this is most likely not scoped, and you can impersonate all the users. You can do really everything. So we use also full access. Software-wise, we just need the managed API from Exchange Web Services and just the PowerShell and the script. One more thing about calendar logging, that's why I was saying it's very interesting, very easy. There's one MAPI property. You will see here, and this MAPI property is logged which client was modifying the item. As you can see here, the full string. It's like in the IIS. If it's, for instance, an Outlook, which modified, created it, you will see client Exchange RPC. The problem is sometimes it's not logged, but I've seen this only in 2013. With 2016, I've never seen this, that this field is not populated. How does it look like? I know it's a little bit hard for you in the back, yeah, but look at the slides. That's the full extract. When I just run the script against my mailbox, there's a demo. Here you can see when it was created, the item itself, when it was changed, and also who changed in the mailbox, and then the last modification. It's interesting if it also comes, and it's very handy if it comes to a mailbox delegate scenario. You know, assistant, if the client has an issue, or if you have multiple assistant and it's not really clear which client was causing an issue or who changed it. We got also this request. But for ActiveSync, very good. You can see here also on the client, which client modified it or created it here. And you can see it was created first with the ActiveSync, and then it was modified several times with the Outlook, and then later on again modified with the ActiveSync. Another part here is Pitlet client change highlight. Anyone know what this means? What this is? It's the best besides the other property. It's those are my favorites, because this you will see, for instance, you can see here what was changed on the item, the location, the body, the recurrence. Was it a delegate who in a serial? Was it a delegate who modified and deleted one of the occurrences, or was it a manager? It is tracked here. This is everything there, and this is just using AWS and querying the mailbox. Get-database events. A few of you heard about database events. Database event was introduced with 2007. It's a small database or an area in the database which keeps the modification, keeps track of all the modification. It's really down level. Most of you don't have seen this. It's on the ELO blog. Yeah, you can read it there. Get some information over there. What you need to do is, for this, definitely you need to have the administrative tools installed, but you have to load an additional PSS snap-in. This is just a comment. I loaded it. You had to add the PowerShell support snap-in, and then you can query the first your mailbox. You need to have the mailbox GUID, where it is, on which server, and then you can just query all the data from this database event. Hold on. How does it look like? You can export it in a CSV file, whatever. It's a little bit more cryptic. Again, this is also what Microsoft, the installation engineer, might ask you to do. You can have a look into it. It's very interesting. But yeah, you will see really raw data. A lot of GUIDs, a lot of modification, at least objects which are modified. The object class, it was then IPF node, IPM calendar, something like this. But most important part, you will have also the client category. MOMT stands for MAPI over middle tier, so that means it was done by Outlook, most likely by Outlook client. AirSync is for ActiveSync devices. Transport, it came through the transport server, you got retrieved an email. It's there. Message tracking log. Sorry, I'm too fast. I know, but I have to hurry up. Time is almost done. Look at the presentation there. Message tracking log, I just only can encourage you. Look at the message tracking log. They also contain a lot of data. Source context, event data. Depending on the context here, you will have also a lot of details there. When you look at it, this is an example. I'm sorry. In this example, there was also a trace the message tracking and then exported the source context. You can see which database it was, for which mailbox, the event. You can see even the client type, through which component it came through. You will see the data are there. You can see it. How is this helpful? Mailbox LogParser, I'm just getting over this. It's a tool which can be which is made for reading ActiveSync debug logging. ActiveSync debug logging can be enabled on mailbox level, and then you can retrieve some data from this from the mailbox, and how you can the point of view from Exchange side. You can enable it, and you can retrieve them the data. It's just plain text log file. But to have a nice formatting, you download the mailbox LogParser and you can import it there, and then you can read. It gives you a nice list and also a raw view where you can really just search for it. But there's a limitation when you enable the debug logging. The total number of logs which are created, and then the time. It's only good for 3 days. So we also thought, okay, it would be good. We had a trace. I run also into this. Yeah, we had issues, and then we enabled the tracing, and then we thought, okay, we are good. Of course, the issue occurred, and then we said, yeah, that's no problem. We can pull the data. We have it. Yeah, and then we figured out why it stopped there working at this time, and then we figured out. Thanks, Christian, also for this to verify it. And there's also some log size issues there, where they can start compressing depending on how many logs you're going to create and how large it's going to be. I just mentioned this maybe as just a scheduled task, which is then triggering and checking if it's enabled or not, and then pulling the data is the workaround for that. So where to start? Just a quick review. When it comes to calendar items, before you start parsing all the IIS logs, seriously, start using EWS. That's also all the requests what we saw in the past. There, we just started the script using EWS, and then just pass it on to the mobile team or get it directly in touch with Apple or Google, whatever the vendor it is. Logouts, use the IIS logs. That's the tool to go. the place to look for the failed authentication. Think about this, it's the front end, but then you have to do it across all the servers, depending on your settings, but most likely across all the servers, because you never know where the request is coming in. Full resync loop, yeah, mailbox logging might be helpful, but you can also see it then in the IIS logs. Just a combination, just one more minute, just also a real life example. There was another issue. This is also a real life example. Of course, it hits a VIP complaint that a meeting request was cancelled. The problem is what I mentioned before. Normally, you would see in the client category that the item or the property is populated. In this case, it wasn't populated. But we had the feeling, yeah, might be the mobile device. When we parsed the IIS logs, we could see here it's the operation, we could see send mail. And the time matched on the EWS output. So we were pretty sure, yeah, it is that. But of course, it was a VIP, so we wanted really to make sure that it is this. It was really sent this item. We used the message tracking log. In the message tracking log, you get even so you get here the item entry ID, which is the unique item entry ID on the item in the mailbox. We compared it, and anyways, we also see here it was ActiveSync. The time was there. Boom. At least we could tell it was this device. This was the issue. Just a recap, that's what we talked about today. Sorry for the rush, 20 minutes. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll stick around here for a few minutes.